What's up? How's it going, everyone? It is Mr. M, and it has been a minute, so that means it is time for a collection update. Since I did not do a best of splits, demos, 7 inches video at the end of last year, I got a couple to show off for this one. And I'm going to start with one of my favorites from last year. This is Reassembled in Pain by Chthonic Deity. Great old school sounding death metal, injected with some punky influences, kind of like what Necrot has done with their stuff, except I think this is heavier. Came on this gray vinyl. There's also black. I don't know if there's copies still available, but the vinyl was put out on Carbonized Records and Woodsmoke, and then Lunar Tomb Records did the tape. And this is basically a death metal supergroup. You got Erica Osterhout. I'm pretty sure I fucked her name up, but that's as close as I'm gonna get. She's in Skolix, she's played for Extremity, Necrosic, she's in a band, I forget the name of the band, but with Chris from Autopsy. It's like some sort of stonery, bordering on psychedelic kind of music. You got Paul Riddell, obviously from Blood Incantation and Spectral Voice, and then Charlie Corinne, drummer for Ascended Dead, touring drummer for Incantation, producer. Most recently he's worked on Scalpels for Blind Surgeons by Lord Gore, and then he also did some production on this as well. Some sick band photos on this insert and some lyrics. Erica and Paul, they trade off vocals, but it's mostly Erica who does the vocal stuff. And then it came with this poster of the album artwork as well. And Chthonic Deity started in like 2014 or 15 or something, and then it was just Erica and Charlie at that time, and other commitments made them set it to the side until 2018 when they finally played their first show, and that's when Paul ended up joining the band. And then when I saw him earlier this year, they had Isaac, who plays drums for Blood Incantation. He can also play guitar, so they had him as the second live guitarist for the show I saw him, and then a couple other shows that they played a few days after that. But yeah, I can't recommend this enough if you like good old school sounding death metal. And then along with that, they did this split. I still haven't figured out the lighting, so I don't know how well you can actually see that, but this is with Rune Magic. And along with black metal, I don't really listen to Death Doom all that much. However, I do think that the Rune Magic song is fucking killer. The Moon is the Portal to Death, and they just have one song. Chthonic Deity has 2 songs, Galaxies of Perpetual Interment and Summoning Malevolent Entities. And Chthonic Deity, they slow their songs down a little bit, but it's still super heavy, relatively fast-paced. This printed inner sleeve's got the black and white album artwork, and then lyrics on the back. Rune Magic also put out an album last year. Forget what it's called because I don't have it, but I've heard loads of good things about this. Came on the smoky clear vinyl. I think this was limited to 100 copies, and then there's black copies as well that had a higher limitation. Forget how many though, but Parasitic Records put this one out. So if you want old school metal, old school death metal on one side and really good death doom on the other side, pick up this split. It fucking rules. Probably shouldn't have even fucked with that. Next we have an album. This version of the album was released last year. This is Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering by Ingested. Originally put out in 2009. This version is the remastered version from 2016, but with one more song, Erotic Depravity, that was not on the remastered version. But this is the 10-year anniversary edition that came out last year. Ingested toured Europe and North America, some of Russia too, playing this album in its entirety. I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to go to that tour, but it was a mix of weather and traffic. Since I live 2 hours away from Denver, if traffic gets really backed up, it's not even worth the drive, even if it's a really good show. But really channeling that brutal death metal, slammy kind of stuff that Devourment's known for, early Suffocation, Vulvodynia, more recently. You know, they've sort of popularized it a bit, and in my opinion, this is their best album. Fucking heavy as all hell. Skinned and Fucked is one that they've played live every single time I've seen them, which I think I've seen them 3 times. And then you got Copremesis, my bad, which is probably my favorite song on there. Cremated Existence, Stillborn, Anal Evisceration. Fucking just over 35 minutes. Absolutely killer, brutal death metal. I'm pretty sure there's vinyl for this available through Unique Leader Records. If you don't want vinyl, CD is available too. And then on the inside, as I just showed kind of briefly, they got a bunch of flyers and photos of the last 10 years. Shows they did, some backstage kind of moments as well. And then this flyer here, Summer Slaughter Tour 2016. First time I got to see them live. And just kind of side note, I guess, from this album, I did not appreciate that show enough. Cannibal Corpse headlined it, along with Nile, After the Burial, Suffocation, Carnifex. That was their album release show for their album Slow Death. The Denver show was. Slaughter to Prevail, Chrysian, Enterprise Earth. No, so many good bands, and at the time I didn't appreciate it enough. And Summer Slaughter Tour has obviously been getting made of fun of the last few years, especially since Devastation on the Nation and Bloodletting North America are a whole lot heavier, have been a whole lot heavier in terms of bands over the last couple years. But Cannibal Corpse, Nile, and Suffocation, all on the same show. Like, how often would that ever happen? You know, it was a fucking brutal show. And I look back on it now and appreciate it, but at the time I was just like, want to see Cannibal Corpse, because that was the biggest reason why I went at the time. Next, here's one that people have been saying things about. This is I Disagree by Poppy, put out on Sumerian Records. Over the last year or so before this record released, she was sort of going in a more progressively heavier direction. A lot of her music before this one and the Am I a Girl? It's either Am I a Girl or Choke is the name of the EP that came before this. It was really, full pun intended, it was really poppy what she was doing. And I've listened to the stuff that she's done in the past, and a lot of her early shit is basically everything I don't like about mainstream pop music. And then I found out about her through Fever 333. She had a song on the EP called Scary Mask, which the full band did a guest appearance on. And that's how I found out about her. I started listening to that one along with songs like Choke and Am I a Girl. And then Sumerian Records ended up picking her up and released this. And this is, in some ways, to me, it kind of feels like a throwback to the shit I was listening to like in middle school, you know, because of the heavier parts along with the super poppy electronic parts. It reminds me of early Asking Alexandria, Attack Attack, Woe Is Me, Capture the Crown. You know, you got the heavier parts on the album like Concrete and Disagree. I'm sure I'm gonna get some shit for saying this, but when I saw her live, she played the entire album but the song Bite Your Teeth. Out of any metalcore and deathcore band that I've seen the last couple years, that had the heaviest breakdown that I've ever heard live. So you got songs like that, and then you got songs like Sick of the Sun, I think Sit and Stay, Nothing I Need, that showcase her the poppier parts from her early stuff, but it does it in a way where it doesn't sound as terrible to me as her early stuff did. And a lot of her older fans don't really like the direction she's gone. When I saw her live, like I said, she played this entire album, and I think she played the Choke EP in its entirety as well. And as I was leaving the show, I was hearing people be like, fucking wish she would play some of her older stuff. I expected some of the poppier stuff. No, because I guess for someone, not everyone's going to like the progression of her going from super poppy to super heavy, but I dig it. Like I said, it sounds kind of throwback, like, you know, I've been listening to a lot of those earlier albums that sort of got me into heavier music, like Asking Alexandria and Capture the Crown. And, you know, I fucking dig it still. Still sounds incredible to me. Got a couple tapes here. This first one is something I was very happy to get. The Abhorrence Veil EP, I guess, from Hyperdontia. This was put out on Rotten Parish Records not too long ago. They also did the Nexus of Teeth tape as well, but I did not want to grab that. 3 songs. The last one, Malicious Concept, was available digitally when this first came out in 2017 or 18. But it wasn't available on the 7-inch, and then that song was also available on all the physical copies of A Vessel Forlorn. This was the first introduction we got to Hyperdontia, and it was fucking incredible. Now, it's a shame that Dave is no longer in the band. I don't know if he's got too busy or he just didn't feel into Hyperdontia or whatever, but he's not in the band. Hyperdontia has a 7-inch called Excreted from the Flesh, I believe, that was just announced for pre-order yesterday through Misako Noho, and I forget his name, but the vocalist from Sulphurous is filling in for him. And this was limited to 50 copies. I don't know if there's still some available. I know the represses for those kind of went under people's radar. Now, I'll leave a link down below if they are available. If not, there will be a link to their Bandcamp where you can listen to it. And then next, this is Mourned with Devoured Humanity. This version was self-released by the band. Shortly after this was released physically, they ended up getting picked up by Maggot Stomp, and I think Maggot Stomp has some copies of this available now. Nice dark blue transparent tape. And these guys are from Massachusetts, I want to say. Brutal death metal. This is like everything that you like about early Suffocation and Devourment thrown into one. You know, you got some of the slammy parts. You know, it's filled with riffs. It's only 2 songs, which kind of sucks, but I think they said they're working on new music too, which is dope. So, of course, a band that's this heavy is going to end up on Maggot Stomp. Like I said, I think tapes are still available. There's a 7-inch coming in April. I'm sure pre-orders are going to be going up at the end of this month too. And, of course, it's on Bandcamp still. Now, this last one I got was something I did not really expect to get. This is the Creator London Apocalypticon box set. At the end of their touring for Gods of Violence in 2018, they had announced that they were filming their final show of the European tour, which obviously was in London. And so that got people excited. And when they had announced the pre-orders for this, or when they had announced that this was coming out, they didn't say anything about pre-orders, except that pre-orders would be up in a week. So I was just like, alright, I'll get the CD, DVD, whatever. And then when pre-orders went up, they announced this box set, and there's 3 live albums in this box set, all double LPs, and it was only like $60 or something, along with the Blu-ray DVD, which has all of them on, which has live performances of all of them, along with the 5 music videos for from Gods of Violence. And so it came with this. I was a bit annoyed when I saw this, because when I opened it for the first time, now the CD, it's just a cardboard sleeve, so the CD was just, it was out, and I had this fear that it was going to be scratched, but it wasn't, thankfully. And so yeah, you got your main course, London Apocalypticon, live at the Roundhouse. This was the tour that they did at the end of 2018 with Dimmu Borgir, Bloodbath, and either Hatebreed or Josta. I forget who, I just know that Jamie Josta was on them. And all of the double LPs come on this sort of transparent red with blue splatter in the middle. So I'm not going to show you all of them because they basically look the same. But yeah, you got London Apocalypticon. You got the Masters of Rock Festival, which they were one of the headlining bands. And this one is actually, of the three, it's their longest set that they did. And then you have Live in Chile, which I believe this was when they did it with, they were on tour with Halloween and Arch Enemy. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not sure offhand. There's nothing really that sticks out too different from what you would expect in a creator set. You know, they played a bunch of the classics, you know, Hordes of Chaos, Pleasure to Kill, Flag of Hate, Violent Revolution. They played some new stuff, obviously, since this was when they were touring on Gods of Violence. Satan is Real, Hail to the Hordes, Fallen Brother, Gods of Violence. Those were the main four. They also thrown in the intro, Apocalypticon. Sometimes they played it in the middle of their set. Sometimes they played it at the end of their set. It was like, that was the song that was playing through the PA while they were throwing out picks and set lists and shit like that. One song that I was very happy that ended up on at least one of these was on Masters of Rock. They ended up playing World War Now, which to me is an extremely overlooked song. It did not become a single, and even though it was the first full-length track on Gods of Violence, you know, I feel like because it didn't become a single, a lot of people just overlooked that. And this one, because it's their longest set, this one is my favorite out of all of them. It opens with Choir of the Damned going into Hordes of Chaos. I said Satan is Real, Gods of Violence. Mars Mantra into the Phantom Antichrist, the openers from Phantom Antichrist. Hail to the Hordes, Fallen Brother, I'm sure is going to become a staple since it was written in dedication to Lemmy, Vinnie Paul, Dimebag Darrell. Basically, if you've seen the music video, you've seen that, you know, it was written about all of the fallen brothers of metal. From Fire into Flood, Extreme Aggression was on this one. Now that I'm realizing it, they didn't play Flag of Hate or Pleasure to Kill in this one. That's fucking weird. But whatever, I guess. Extreme Aggression, People of the Lie. So much good shit. And this wasn't really, I guess, probably the part of the reason why it was only $60 instead of more. You know, there wasn't really anything super special about this. It's 3 live double LPs and then a DVD that has everything. You know, it's not like, there wasn't a poster, there wasn't stickers, something autographed. You know, there wasn't any of that. It's just the music and the DVD, and that's what you get. But there was various other versions too. I'm sure in some way, not maybe not the box set, but in some way London Apocalypticon is still available. And that's going to conclude this video. Cheers for watching, and thanks for commenting, subscribing, and all that, and I will catch you in the next video.